Hello everyone, welcome to Biology, Class 12, Chapter number 2, Reproduction in Higher Animals. Today, in this video lecture, we will study about female reproductive system. Let us get started. The female reproductive system, it includes paired ovaries, accessory ducts, and the external genitalia. Let us study about the female reproductive organ, ovary. Ovary, it is a male sex organ which is responsible for the formation of egg or the ova. It is oval or the almond-shaped structure. It is paired and it is located in pelvis region just near the kidney. It is held in position by the ligaments. The ligaments which is present between the ovary and the uterus are called uterine ligament or the ovarian ligaments. The broad ligaments, it is present in the form of the peritoneum membrane, which connect ovary with the body wall, which help to hold this ovary in the position. In the peritoneum, blood vessel network it is present. The part of the peritoneum which is present between ovary and the fallopian tube, it is called mesoovarium. Ovary it is also responsible to give the different hormones. The estrogen, this is the hormone, it is coming from the ovary and it is responsible for the development of female reproductive system and to maintain it. It also play important role to maintain the female characteristics. The second hormone, it is a progesterone, which is also coming from ovary. It regulates menstrual cycle and play important role at the time of pregnancy. Third hormone, it is a relaxin. It play important role in the dilation of the cervix at the time of delivery of the child. Fourth one is a activin. This is the hormone, it is responsible to increase the FSH binding as well as it is also responsible to enhance the effect of LH in the ovary, and it is also responsible for androgen synthesis. The last hormone, it is inhibin. It play important role in the inhibition process. It inhibit the follicle stimulating hormones from the pituitary gland. Let us study about the structure of the ovary. Ovary, it is differentiated into the two layers. Outer layer, it is a cortex and it's covered by germinal epithelial cell layer. The inner medulla, it is the core of the ovary, which has the stroma, which is formed by loose connective tissue in which blood vessels, lymph, and the nerves are present. The development of ovary, it begins before the birth of the female baby. The development of ovary is complete at the end of 12th week of pregnancy. The outer cortex of the ovary, it is compact and it is a granular. It has primordial follicles. Primordial follicles, these are the tiny masses of the cells which is present in the cortex region. Endodermal cells of the yolk sac. It divide mitotically and it produce oogonia. Oogonia, these are the structure, later on it form the ovarian follicle. Ovarian follicle, it is formed by follicular cell and the granulosa cells. There are about 2 million primordial follicles that are present in the fetal ovary. About 1 million it remains till the birth of the female child. and only the 40,000 follicles it remain at the time of the puberty. This figure indicates here most of the primordial follicle which is produced in female fetus, it is get destructed and they are called as asteria. These destructed follicles, they are called as asteria. At puberty, only the 40,000 primordial follicles they are present in the ovary. At puberty, this follicle they develop. Primordial follicle has a large central primary oocyte which is surrounded by single layer of flat follicular cells. Student, we studied that primordial follicles they are developed when the female baby it is developing in mother's womb. In primordial follicle, the single layer of follicular cell it is present along with a developing egg or the developing oocyte. This follicle it is like a ring because the follicular cells they are arranged in the form of the ring, and that's why the structure it is called as follicle. These all the primordial follicle they mature only when the female it comes to the puberty. At the time of the puberty, pituitary gland it secretes the hormone FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone. So in presence of this hormone, primordial follicle they get stimulated for the further growth. In presence of FSH, the follicle they start its cell division. They grow their number. And now in the follicle, a double layer follicular cells they are formed. Oocyte is also developing. Now the follicle it is called as primary follicle. So in the primary follicle, you can find double layered follicular cell layer. This double layer structure of the follicle further it grow by increasing the follicular cell number. This multi-layered follicular cell layer it is called as a granulosa. The granulosa cell layer it start secreting the hormone estrogen. Estrogen it is a female sex hormone. The continuous growth of this follicle it is done by the division of the follicular cell, and now the follicle it attains its maximum size. It turns into a mature follicle in which the maturation of the egg or the oocyte it is seen. These mature follicles they push at the border side of the ovary. So on the surface, the blister-like structure appears on the ovary. Mature follicle, they burst, they get cracked, and the egg, that is a female gamete, get released. The process, it is called ovulation. When the ovulation took place, the remaining part of the follicle, which is having the follicular cells only, all the follicular cell, they turn into endocrine cells. They start the releasing the hormone progesterone. When fertilization takes place, and if the pregnancy is developed, the corpus luteum structure, which is endocrine in nature, get developed. But if the fertilization is not over, then the corpus luteum it starts shrinking. It becomes the dry mass, and now the corpus luteum it change into corpus albicans. These all the changes which is taking place in the ovary, these are all cyclic changes. Student, now we'll focus on the structure of the tertiary follicle or the mature follicle or the Graafian follicle. We know that in the secondary follicle, the outermost layer, it is a theca layer, which is a protective layer, which is formed by connective tissue cells, that is the stroma cells. This protective layer cells or the stroma cells, further it redivide, and it forms a double layer structure around the granulosa cells. This double layer structure, it is differentiated into theca externa and the theca interna. Theca means the covering. Here covering layer, it is differentiated into the two layers. The outer layer, it is an external layer, and the inner layer, it is the internal layer. It includes granulosa cell layer. Granulosa cell layer, in which also what the further proliferation is seen. And the layers, they get split. The splitting of the granulosa layer, it creates a cavity. This cavity, it is called as antrum. Antrum, in which a fluid is present. This fluid, it is called as a liquor fluid or the follicular fluid. Follicular cell, it secretes the fluid, it is the liquor fluid, and which get enclosed inside the antrum. So you know what is the antrum? Antrum, it is the cavity which is generated by granulosa cell layers, and in which here the follicular cell secretion get collected. The secretion, it is the liquor fluid. Just inner to that, we can find the developed egg or the developed ovum. Around this egg or the ovum, the membrane which is present, it is called vitelline membrane. It is the thin membrane which encloses the egg. Around the vitelline membrane, one more membranous structure is present, which is a non-cellular structure is there. It is called as zona pellucida. Around the zona pellucida, the membrana granulosa cells, they arrange and it forms three structures. Corona radiata, this is the layer of a granulosa cell which is present outside the zona pellucida, which appear like a corona structure. That's why it is called as a corona radiata. Cumulus oophorus, this is the structure, it forms the column-like structure which raise the oocyte inside the antrum. Student, now will focus on accessory ducts which is present in female reproductive system. These are oviduct, uterus, and the vagina. Look at the figure. Oviduct, it is mainly divided into three regions: infundibulum, ampulla, and the isthmus. Infundibulum, it is a proximal part of oviduct. It is a funnel shaped and is having finger-like projection called fimri, which encloses opening called ostia. Fimri play important role to collect the egg which is released from ovary, and it pushes this released egg into the ostia. Ampulla, it is the middle region of the oviduct. It is also called site of fertilization because this is the region where egg and the sperm it unite. Process of fertilization is complete, and that's why this region it is also called a site of fertilization. The third region, it is the isthmus. It is a distal part of the oviduct. It is a narrow and it opens into uterus. Uterus, it is a hollow, muscular and inverted pear-shaped structure. Uterus, it has a three region, fundus, body and the cervix. Fundus is the upper part. It is little elevated part. The body, it is the main part of the uterus. It is a major part of the uterus. And the cervix, it is the last part of the uterus which is present below the body region. Uterus has three layers, which together it forms the uterine wall. From inner to the outer side, these layers are endometrium, myometrium, and perimetrium. Endometrium, it is the inner layer of the uterus. It is a glandular and it secretes uterine secretion. Myometrium, it is a middle layer. It is a thick and is made up of smooth muscles. Perimetrium, it is the outer thin layer which connect the uterus with the body wall. Cervix, it is a lower narrow part of uterus or the womb. It is made up of fibrous muscular tissue. It is cylindrical in shape. It connects uterus with the vagina. It encloses a canal. It has two openings. Opening into uterus, it is called internal os, and opening into vagina, it is called external os. Vagina, it is the last part of female reproductive system. It is a tubular structure. It connects the cervix with the vestibule. The wall of the vagina, it is made up of three layers. Mucosa, it is the inner side. Muscular layer, it is a middle layer and it is made up of muscle. And at outer side, adventitia layer is present, which is a protective layer. Vagina do not have any type of the gland, but it receives the secretion of the cervix. Vagina, it opens into vestibule. The opening, it is called vaginal orifice. This opening, it is partially covered by a membrane called hymen. Vagina has importance. During the delivery of the child, vagina, it acts as a birth canal. Vagina, it is also important because this is the path through which the menstrual blood flow it is released. Student, up till now we have studied about the internal organs of the female reproductive system. Now we'll study about external genital organs which is present just outside the vagina. They are also called as vulva, which include vestibule, labia minora, clitoris, labia majora, and the pons pubis. First, we'll see about the vestibule. Vestibule, it is a vertical depression in which the two openings are present, that is the urethral and the vaginal opening. Urethral opening is to pass the urine outside the body. Vaginal opening, it is a female reproductive openings through which the sperms it enters into the body of female. The labia minora, these are the two skin folds. They are thin. At posterior side, they are merged and it forms the forged structure. At the anterior side, it forms the hood-like structure which protect the clitoris. Clitoris, it is the triangular, elevated, sensitive part. Labia majora, these are the thick skin folds which acts like a scrotum, which protect the inner part of the vulva, that is clitoris, labia minora, and the vestibule. At the upper side of the labia majora, pons pubis is present. It is the elevated part of which is covered by pubis hair. Let us study about the accessory gland present in female reproductive tract, which include vestibular gland. These are also termed as Bartholin's gland. They are similar to bulbourethral gland present in male reproductive system. Hence, they are also called homologous glands. The size of this gland, it is like a pea. It is composed of compound epithelial cells. These glands are compound alveolar glands, which is lined by columnar cells. They are secretory in nature. They secrete a mucus secretion. The secretion, it is carried with the help of the duct, and these duct, they open in the vestibule on left and right side of posterior part of the vagina. Duct, it releases the sticky mucus secretion into the vagina, and it lubricates the passage of the vagina, as in the vagina there is no any gland is present. So the lubrication of the vagina, it is done by vestibular gland. Let's move and talk about the mammary glands. Mammary gland, they are the paired round structure present at the anterior side of the thorax in the pectoral region. This is the organ for the production and the release of the milk. Mammary gland develop at the puberty in presence of the hormone estrogen and the progesterone. These are the ovarian hormones. In presence of these hormone, the development of mammary gland, it is done. At the time of the pregnancy, the prolactin hormone, which is coming from pituitary gland, it is also called LTH, luteotrophic hormone. This hormone, it helps in the development of milk duct, that is the lactiferous ducts. Mammary glands, these are the modified sweat glands. They are present in the pectoral region. They are attached to thoracic wall by a muscle layer called pectoralis muscles. The pectoralis muscles on which the development of mammary gland is seen. The most portion of the mammary gland, it is a fatty, and in that you can find a glandular tissue. The glandular tissue of mammary gland has 15 to 20 irregularly shaped lobes. Those lobes are called mammary lobes. In every mammary lobe, alveolar glands are present. Student, we have studied the alveoli structure in the lungs. Alveoli structure, it looks like grapes. The structure of this gland is also like the grapes, and that's why it is called as alveolar gland. Alveolar gland, it secretes milk. Milk secretion from the alveolar gland, it is collected with the help of small ducts called as mammary tubules. So all mammary tubules coming from every alveolar gland, it join to form mammary duct. All the mammary duct together, it form mammary ampulla structure. And further this mammary ampulla structure, it is connected to lactiferous duct. All the lactiferous duct, they converge at a point called nipple, which is the elevated part of mammary gland. The opening of lactiferous duct, it is present on the surface of nipple. It is surrounded by the dark area. It is called areola. This is the figure of lactiferous sinus. Lactiferous duct, it gives the lactiferous sinus, which is present below the nipple, where the milk it is collected. Student, look at the chart. With the help of this chart, we can memorize the ducts which is present in mammary glands. Thank you for watching this video. Do like, share and subscribe this channel.